Hello, people, and welcome to another exciting episode of RockerMike and Rob present ClownKong Movie Madness Part 2. Movie Madness
Episode 2.
We did one a few weeks ago, and it turned out pretty good. The reviews were good. People loved it.
A few months ago. It was
A few months ago, yeah.
November, right?
I have no idea what. Oh, it's 2020.
And today we have two fucking fantastic movies.
Yep.
We'll be talking about Metropolis first, and then The Evil Doers, the greatest sequel of all time, The Bride of Frankenstein.
I do agree with that.
So let's start with Metropolis, boys. What we got? What you got for me? Start talking.
All right.
Should we start talking about Fritz Lang?
Okay. So, Fritz Lang.
No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Well, Fritz Lang was a German director. Okay, started a movement called German Expressionism.
Yeah.
There's lots of films that fall in this category. Metropolis is one of the best examples. Dr. Caligari. What else? two of the best ones right there.
Let me ask you a question.
There's
Did
quite a
Ed
few.
Wood steal some of his ideas from this movie, Metropolis?
Ed Wood? Well,
it was very because it was futuristic.
look, I mean, there's a direct line between those films in the 20s and what came later.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, horror, B-movie guys like Ed Wood, I'm sure looked up to Fritz Lang in movies like Metropolis as, the Star Wars or whatever at that time, the best.
Well, what Fritz Lang was doing was just way beyond his time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
incredible imagery, incredible
I mean, the use of the big thing with German Expressionism was the use of shadows. All these films were in black and white, and they used shadows in a way to push the story along, right?
Correct.
So,
I love that.
Metropolis, I'll give you a little background here. Now, the movie was released in 1927, January of that year. Like I said, directed by Fritz Lang. It's based on an actual book that was written by his wife about a year earlier. Her name was Thea von Harbolt, okay? And she wrote like a novelization of what would be the screenplay. One thing I gotta mention, now most of the time when there's novelizations of screenplays, it's cheesy, but this is an exception. Because if you've ever read this book, separate from the film, it plays like a fantastic sci-fi novel.
Right on.
It really does. It really does.
This is where the idea of flying cars comes from.
Yeah. I mean, if you've ever seen this film, I mean, there's a tower in the center of Metropolis.
Yeah.
The city is it was actually, the idea he got for it was when he came to New York City a few years earlier, okay? In the 1924, I think it was, when Die Nibelungen, a movie he directed, okay, was based on the Ring Cycle of Wagner, all right? 1924, he made this movie, and it was released in New York City, and he went to the premiere. And I think it was his first time ever in New York.
First time in New York.
And he came in on a boat and was like blown away. He had a photographer with him that ended up taking pictures that ended up in a hardcover book that you could buy like in Berlin when they came back of all the skyscrapers in New York City.
Right on.
Definitely. So like I said, it came out in early 1927. It was made for 5 million Reichsmarks, which at that time was the most expensive film ever made, at least in Germany. Unfortunately, it was the biggest bomb. It only made 75,000.
It's shitted.
They spent 5 million. They got 75,000 back. The movie it's not that it was panned when it came out, but people just didn't get it.
Nah.
It was so, it was so socially conscious.
But it was also such ahead of its time.
Yeah.
With the modern city, where you see the traffic, and it was a modern city. I'm like, I'm looking at this. I'm like, even me watching the movie, like, how the fuck did they do this?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Even today, people like. But
It was amazing. It's
amazing.
amazing. And you see the traffic. No, at first I thought it was a painting or a cartoon that they did.
No, they actually had a model.
Yeah, they had a model.
There's a great in the 2010 version of the film, which is what I have on DVD. That was the last restoration that they did of it. There's been many restorations of the film over the years because the film was cut when it first came out.
Yeah.
Literally after its premiere, it was cut down from almost a 3-hour movie to an hour and a half movie.
Right. They say it's too long.
Right, because
People complain about
attention
it.
span.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And guys,
like
remember,
that.
this was a silent film also.
To sit there for
To
2.5
sit there for
hours.
2.5
and watch,
hours.
yeah, I guess was a
But
lot.
even me watching it, I'm reading, I'm like, what the fuck? It took me like 2 days to finish it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my first, the first time I actually saw it, it was a version that came out, I think in the 80s, and it was...
With Giorgio Moroder?
Right, but and Queen
Yeah,
doing the
Giorgio
soundtrack.
Moroder did it, yeah.
And I still love that version.
You know what? I did, because that's an early one that I saw as well. Though I can remember as a kid seeing this on Channel 13. This was something that I know I watched
I
as a kid.
can tell you, Channel 13 still plays this to this day.
They still play that movie, yeah. And Nosferatu's another one that used to always be on Channel 13. But the one that came out in the 80s had...
I don't know why we didn't mention that in the first place.
I know.
Nosferatu. So guys, let me tell you, the original runtime of this movie was 153 minutes.
153 minutes.
2.5 hours.
2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Another thing, this film was the pioneer for science fiction film. This was like
Absolutely.
the most
Pretty much
science
every...
fiction film.
Did you ever hear of the sci-fi movie? You know this, The Things to Come. Things to Come, based off the H.G. Wells book.
Yeah.
That came out. I think that was filmed in the late 30s, early 40s.
But
That movie.
even H.G. Wells commented about this.
H.G. Wells did not like Metropolis.
He did not. He hated it.
He shit on it. He said that it was too simplistic.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, what is simplistic about this? But what he was talking about really was in the film. And another criticism was that it had like communist leanings.
Yes.
Okay? Because you had like the working class rising up against the upper class. Okay, so that's one thing. Well, a little more than that. But Wells said that the main theme of the film was too simplistic. And the main theme is the quote that you see several times in the movie. The mediator between the head and the hands must be the heart.
Yep.
Okay, and that was the theme of the film, where you had these two sides that were at odds, but the girl with the heart is the one that can bring it together.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. You know, and you have this, side thing going on with the mad scientist.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, who makes the robot, who's going to really just, fuck things up for everybody. That was the plan. But in the end, the good guys won.
Right.
That was great with the robot woman. That was great.
Speaking of communist leanings, there was the whole
It was banned in the
workers,
Soviet Union.
the
Oh yeah, the
workers,
Soviet Union now
workers,
with this movie.
and you know that Joseph Goebbels, head of propaganda for the Nazis, asked Fritz Lang to be their lead film.
Fritz Lang wanted nothing.
Fritz Lang was very anti-Nazi.
Not only did he say no, he left the country.
Yeah, he did. He sent all his money. He sent all his money, and then he got out.
One of his biggest films in Germany was 1931 M with Peter Lorre. Okay, I think that might have been his last film.
Right.
Okay, if I'm not wrong.
You know the funny thing? After this movie came out, years later, it became like one of those cult classics.
Kind of.
People would watch it and people would enjoy
It's
it.
been studied.
It took years, but it wasn't commercially successful. Later on, they got a lot of reviews.
Well, the movie's almost 100 years old. I'm sure it's made money now.
There's a lot of films like that are considered cult classics because they bombed at first.
Yeah.
And then it took people a while to really understand them.
Donnie Darko.
Freaks, for example.
Donnie Darko was like that.
Yeah.
Connie Darko.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You know?
People love it.
It took a while for people to like that.
Rocky Horror Picture
Rocky Horror
Show.
Picture Show's another one.
Now everybody knows.
Yeah, but it
And I'm
took a
sure
while.
our new cult classic is going to be Cats.
You know,
Everybody hates it now, but I bet you.
You know what?
I'm already knowing people that are going and
Everybody-
dressing up as cats. And
Cats
singing
was
along.
terrible.
Listen, everybody hated Showgirls when it came out. And
what?
I
Good
said,
point.
I saw it in the
Good
movies with like one other person in theater, right? I
was
saw
fantastic.
it, and I'm like, this movie's a fucking classic, right? I said that off the bat.
Showgirl was fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. And let's
Totally.
just not forget, Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Of course.
Which we're going to have to do a review.
Oh yeah.
If I still
There's
have
no way
this
we-
DVD,
That's my hero. It was my
You gotta
hero.
do that.
if I still have, I have this DVD, right?
Yeah.
And it's the Showgirl box set.
You have.
Wait a minute.
First
Did that
of all,
come out with, like-
wait.
What was
First
that?
of all, Showgirl box
Wait.
is a great idea.
It is.
Alright,
it
but
is.
check
There's
this
an
out.
actual
Was
box
there like
set?
Elizabeth
There's a
Berkley's
box-
panties in there or
No,
something?
I gotta tell you.
What's in that
So
box
they
set?
got,
What
they
is in
got,
that box
wait up,
set?
they got the commentary with this extremely gay guy, and he's like, Naomi, don't go in there. It is the best.
Saved by the Bell fans.
You smoke a fucking joint and you watch
And
that
listen,
shit.
listen to the commentary.
The commentary, it was the
What?
funniest shit you
Are
were
you
ever.
making
fucking-
this up?
I
Rob Rossi, are you
I
making
wish
this
I
up?
was.
First of all,
And the guy's like, don't go in that room. Oh my god, you're getting put down the stairs. Don't go down the stairs. It is fantastic. Guys, I wish
First of
I
all-
was making this shit
First
up.
of all,
I might have it. If it's in my house somewhere,
Lend it to
I'll
me.
lend it to you.
First of all, the Showgirls has a box set, and second of all, because you have it, makes it.
I bought it, man.
You know who was a big proponent, and the only person in the media of Showgirls that first came out? Quentin Tarantino. All right? He actually said this movie is like the best exploitation movie
It's an
I've seen in
exploitation
50
movie.
years. You
It
know?
was great.
Like, yeah, definitely. Well, let me give you a little more background here with Metropolis.
Oh yeah, back to
Okay?
Metropolis.
All right, we are
We
talking
went,
about
we went to
something.
Showgirls box
Now-
set somehow.
Maybe Showgirl will be one of the movies we watch.
We should.
Yeah,
we
you know
should.
what?
We should.
We should do Showgirls.
Okay. Now, just so we can get over the cast here, I want to bring up the cast. Alfred Abel played Joe Fredderson. He was the leader and founder of Metropolis.
Right on.
He's kind of like a corporate type, mayor type. I don't know what he
He's
is.
the city master.
He's the city master. Okay. Now you had Bridget Helm was Maria.
Yeah, Maria.
And she also was the robot. Now in German that's called Maschine Mensch.
Machine Lynch.
Okay, so machine woman. All right. You had Gustav Froelich. He was Frederson.
Yep.
Okay, Joe's son.
Yep.
Who basically discovers what's happening below the surface of
yeah.
Metropolis.
Yeah, this is about
And you know, he's the
the haves and the have-nots.
right, and he learns about that. You have Rudolph Klein Rouge. Okay, he played C.A. Rotwang, the mad scientist.
Yep.
Then you have that's it. Those are the main characters. Bridget Helm, like I said, remember her name. And originally 153 minutes, and now it was the reason I want to talk about the restoration of the film.
Right.
Is it was cut when it first came out
Oh yeah.
too long, but you know who cut it? Paramount Pictures cut it.
Yeah.
Because they were releasing it in America, and they said, we can't release it at that length, this movie's not that good, we'll cut it down. There was a guy in Paramount that got an original copy, this is going back 1927,
Right.
the original copy, and he cut it and threw away all the cuttings.
What's wrong with
Okay.
people? What is wrong with people?
Thinking it would never be anything, right? So for years, it was shown at that hour and a half cut. Eventually, that would be lost, you know, and it's hard to find originals of that. What they got lucky was, for many years they thought that most of that hour was lost. But there was, in Argentina, they found a 16 millimeter print. Okay, now it would have been 30 millimeter if it was exactly the same print. But they found it in 16 millimeter, and they were actually able to piece it together. The film was really damaged. When I watched the 2010, you could tell those scenes that are spliced in.
Oh, yeah.
But it moves the plot along. You need these scenes in there to understand.
You know why they found it in Argentina?
Because the Nazis took it.
It's just a theory. It's just based on conjecture. It's just a
Come on,
theory.
Yes.
you know.
The
You
Nazi
know.
Like,
You know.
Oh, I don't know how he got to Argentina. I don't know. It's just there.
I always told you,
Bro,
what would be a great time? You know what would be a great show? Movie time with Hitler. Have Hitler review the movie.
He's like, I love this movie. I love this movie. It is a great movie. A great movie. It's different than communist shit. Like, oh, that.
And if it sucks, it gasses it.
If it's no, wait. To gas or not to
We'll
gas?
have a little can of Cyclone P gas on the table.
I'm just gonna sit here and mind my own business. I'm minding my own business.
I would just do the Mussolini law. If the movies are good, you get shot or hanged.
Wait. Wait a minute. How about Mussolini and Hitler reviewing movies
my
together?
God.
Picture Mussolini
He's like,
with that face.
give me more popcorn. Don't hog the popcorn.
They definitely, it was definitely a Nazi that took the fucking film and took it to Argentina and watched it.
I would think. Probably. But, okay, so Metropolis, we're done. All right?
Yeah.
We got that. We're done with that. All right? Now we're moving to a classic.
Here we go.
Absolute
Wait up.
classic.
Here we
Oh,
go.
you got something else?
We still say Metropolis got fucking hanged shit on for years and
Oh,
years.
yeah.
And then people are watching, they're like, it was a fucking beautiful film.
classic
It's
film.
actually,
Like if
it's
you
absolutely
never watch
gorgeous.
it,
It's a
gorgeous.
and you
gorgeous
start
film.
watching it now, you look at it, and it was like so ahead of its time, which I think
Absolutely.
even today they probably persuade a lot of guys that did science fiction films now, because these guys were like, holy shit, like you
And
know,
they used all models. There was obviously no CGI. There was
Right,
obviously no computerized effects.
Meticulous.
I mean, they had
Dude,
to
let me
move.
tell you.
When you watch the restoration, Rob, okay, they show these guys. They're standing in the model, so you see them,
Yeah.
okay? But the cameras are on everything. They're moving these cars, a quarter of an inch
One at a time, yes.
Okay, just to show the movement, and that's only like
motion animation.
that's only maybe a couple of minutes in the film
This is-
that you see that, and they
Yeah.
spent days doing that.
This is
Days.
stop motion animation in very early years.
But
Yeah.
guys, think about that and think about George Lucas. You told me George Lucas didn't watch this movie and got the idea for Star Wars?
Well, look, I
And
mean,
all this
that
shit.
was
Well,
that was
let's
50
think
years
more about
later.
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner
Blade
definitely
Runner
got-
absolutely
Blade
took from
Runner definitely
Metropolis.
stole everything from
Absolutely
Metropolis.
took from that. Right, Mark? Yeah.
That was
absolutely.
like Blade Runner took every single thing and definitely from fucking Metropolis. Because Blade Runner is almost like Metropolis a little bit.
and the Radio Gaga video
Oh yeah.
by Queen.
That's a good point.
Wasn't that? Remember that Queen cover with the giant robot?
That's what it was.
Definitely from Metropolis.
It was totally
It
influenced
was
by
like, God damn it! They're like,
Yeah.
You ever see the Family Guy that Stewie hates that cover? Well, it's a giant robot. Why are you bringing that?
I never saw that.
It's fucking funny.
All right, so now that was 1927. We're going to move ahead 8 years now.
1835.
To 1935.
All right, the golden age of
Universal
Gothic,
Pictures.
Gothic horror.
Universal horror movies.
Gothic horror, which
Right,
includes
right.
Dracula, which includes
The Wolfman?
Wolfman, is also
How about the
included,
Swamp Thing?
Frankenstein.
Invisible Man.
Actually,
Invisible Man.
Wolfman came out a little bit later, but we had. So this is James Whale, who had great success with Frankenstein.
1931.
The original 1931.
Right.
Came out right about the time, Dracula, which also came out.
Same year.
Same year. And this is when Dracula, we should do another whole thing about Dracula.
could.
On and on.
I like the new Netflix one, by the way.
Oh, that's good.
You know what? I've only seen the first episode, and
only three,
I
but-
enjoyed the fact that they stuck very close to it.
They did, but they get away from it by the third one, but it's all entertaining.
That's
It's
what
all
it is.
good.
Anyway, so Todd Browning saved the studio by coming up with Drinking Dracula. It was like the biggest hit, 1931. So they did Frankenstein, which was a natural, progression. Huge hit. James Whale did a great job.
Boris Karloff in that,
Boris Karloff.
as you all know.
So then they're like, oh, great hit. Let's do a sequel.
Yeah.
Right. Now,
1935.
now it was 4 years later.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned to me when we were talking about this that you thought this was the very first sequel of anything.
So
Is that true?
Check
I'm
this
trying to-
out. So this
Is that
movie.
true?
It might be.
So Frankenstein was such a studio success
Yeah.
that they gave the Bride of Frankenstein $400,000,
Which was a huge budget.
Which was way bigger than the original.
and it did $2 million, which is a commercial success in theater.
But what?
So they took $400,000. So this was technically the first sequel. And
It was the first sequel of a horror
sequel
film,
of
but
a
was it the
horror
first sequel of anything?
It was pretty much the first sequel of anything. No other
Really?
movie that you can think of ever had a sequel.
I can't think of anything.
And this
that did
movie
that.
was the one that started the whole, let's do a sequel.
And
to
I
it.
tell you
Well, it
what.
started a whole.
And it's
yeah.
funny, they never call Frankenstein the monster, though. They never call him Frankenstein, they call him the monster.
monster.
That-
No,
because
that's-
that's what he is. The
Well,
monster.
monster.
You know, I've been trying to. I actually researched this. I don't know. I couldn't find anything, but at some point, if you look at old films, they always say the Frankenstein monster. Okay. At some point in the decades after Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein, Ghost of Frankenstein, all that stuff, somehow Frankenstein just became the monster himself.
Right.
People, when you refer to a Frankenstein, you're thinking of the monster, but that's not accurate. But in the early years, they were accurate with it. I'm trying to figure out when it changed. I'm thinking in the 60s or something, it might have actually changed somehow.
I think what changed it was
people's
Young
minds.
Frankenstein.
No, it was before that, I think.
Before that.
Yeah, it might have been before that. Yeah.
Oh, maybe Abbott Costello, meet Frankenstein.
So,
Yeah, maybe
that's
because
not a bad thought.
well, you know, I watched that recently, and there is a Frankenstein character, Doctor, but he's like hardly in it.
Yeah.
It's really like more the monster. Yeah, it's
But what did they
interesting.
call it? Abbott Costello, meet
Meet
Frankenstein.
Yeah. So at that point,
And it was
maybe
more
in
the
the
monster.
40s. Maybe in the 40s. That's when it changed somehow.
It was more the monster than it was more the monster.
And that's
It
a
was-
Universal
yeah.
Pictures film, so
Yeah.
they distorted it somehow,
Yeah.
maybe.
I
Interesting.
just call it fake.
Yeah, but James Whale did not want to make this film.
Right. Because he did not want to get pigeonholed as in making
and he
a horror
also
film.
that's right, and he also felt that he really, ran into the ground as much as he could do out of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, basically, Bride of Frankenstein takes off takes up right where the other movie left off.
Right.
Yes.
Okay,
Right.
you got
Right.
all the people, all the crowds of
Right.
people, but one of the first characters you see is Udo O'Connor.
Una O'Connor.
Okay,
By
now-
the way, this is something I was going
I
to bring
love
up.
Udo O'Connor.
This is what I love.
The old lady that screams.
This is what I love about the sequel, and as they layered so many other things
Into it.
They,
Yeah.
comedy,
Oh yeah.
and Una O'Connor, who also, by the way, does pretty much the same character in another James Whale film, The Invisible Man.
Yes. Yes.
With Claude Rains,
Yes.
and she plays the innkeeper, and she's a bigger
Bigger
role.
she's a bigger role, yeah.
Her whole, here's her thing. She's like,
Just-
"Ah!"
Her whole thing is she's carrying shit, she screams and drops it.
She's
That's her whole thing.
"Ah!"
But she made a whole career out of that.
But she would also have the hilarious comedy like.
I love the scene in Bride of Frankenstein where she just seen the monster.
Right.
She goes
And she
right
goes-
to the
she
Frankenstein.
goes-
Yeah, she's all freaking out. But where does she go? She goes to Frankenstein's castle.
Right.
Okay, of course, right? So she goes there to tell them the monster's still alive. They don't want to hear it, and she just goes, "Oh, okay, well, it's all on you because I told you, and I don't care. I'm washing my hands of it."
Wash my hands of it.
And she's out.
And she's out. You gotta love it.
She's a great
You gotta love
she's a
it.
great character, and I just love how they just throw that
Yeah.
in.
Think about how much influence this movie had on Young Frankenstein.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
well, Young Frankenstein is not only a parody of the film, but it's actually a love letter. It's an homage.
It's an homage to it.
to this film.
I think Mel Brooks did something by making Young Frankenstein. I think when I go back and watch Bride, I see where Mel Brooks looked at the funny things in it and said we can make a whole movie and make it funny.
It's fucking great.
I mean, that's what he did. Because there are elements of humor in Bride of Frankenstein that you kind of forget if you don't see it for a while.
Yeah.
But then you pick up on it, and Whale did that on purpose. Whale said, we're gonna. What did he say? The actual quote was, "I'm gonna make a memorable hoot of a movie." Okay, and that's what he did. And he spent $400,000. He had very good effects.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I wonder how much those scenes with Dr. Pretorius with the little people cost.
Right.
I wonder how much that cost back. That might have been half the budget.
And I'm glad you brought it. I'm glad you brought up Dr. Pretorius because I want to say this.
Dr. Pretorius.
This is one of Dr. Pretorius.
A man with only, what, 2 vices? Or how many vices?
No.
Yeah, a lot of vices. He only said my only vice.
My only vice. Have some gin. It's my only weakness.
Vice. Yeah.
And then it's like, have a cigar.
No, it's my only weakness. Have this cocaine. It's my only weakness.
So here is the thing. So Ernest, I've never heard his name actually pronounced that well. Thigson.
Ernest Thesigan.
Ernest Thesigan.
Dr. Pretorius.
So James Whale and Ernest were good friends. They wanted Claude Rains to do.
Were they good friends? Well, I saw Gods and Monsters.
Well,
I know about Whale.
Listen, no, it's no secret. James Whale was the only real openly gay director in Hollywood. In some places, it was illegal to be gay, so it was very hidden.
He was very
openly. He didn't give a fuck. But here's the deal.
Gods and Monsters is a good movie too.
Right, Gods and Monsters,
that's a great movie,
which is also another Ernest Dr. Pretorius line.
Yeah. Gods and Monsters.
Here's to the world of gods and monsters.
Right.
But anyway, Dr. Pretorius is my favorite character, and actually, he is literally the main character of this film.
He is.
He is the first.
Because Dr. Frankenstein doesn't want to mess with anything anymore. He drags him back in.
Yeah, right. Clive Colin. He's like,
Colin.
No, so, but Dr. Pretorius is one of the first great supervillains.
Yeah.
And this was a great thing that James Whale did.
Yeah.
Put in a supervillain who just pretty much guides the whole story along.
Right.
He pushes all the story along.
Right.
And he's really the main character of this film. And interestingly enough, in the original Frankenstein, in the opening credits, Boris Karloff isn't even in there.
No.
It's just
It's
he's
a
the
question
monster.
mark. It's a monster.
In the second film, in Brides of Monsters, in the second film, it's top billing.
Yeah.
Boris Karloff.
Doesn't say Boris.
Oh, it says Karloff.
Just says Karloff.
But it gets top billing, and he's actually almost like a supporting character.
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of a supporting character. And so is.
But you know why I bet that
Dr.
was?
Frankenstein. This is the Dr. Pretorius
You
film.
guys are talking. So we talked about Metropolis first, and then we talked about Bride of Frankenstein. What do these two movies have in common?
Bridget Helm. Bridget Helm was considered by James Whale to be the part of the bride.
Yeah.
Okay. Bridget Helm, if you remember, we mentioned her. She was Maria and the machine woman in Metropolis.
Yes.
So there's a connection there between the two.
And the other connection is they both had supervillains.
Supervillains.
They both had supervillains.
All right.
And Metropolis had a supervillain.
Had the robot monster
yes.
with the okay.
And people don't realize that. That's the connection.
Interesting.
And the woman and the fucking supervillain.
Now Bridget Helm, that was a good 8 years later, so she's still young, I guess, to do that. But they ended up going with Elsa Lanchester. Elsa Lanchester actually has 2 parts in it.
Yeah,
she does. She plays Mary Shelley.
Right. Now, this is. I mean, I've seen this movie so many times, but there's always the part in the beginning I always forget. Okay, where they show Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, with Lord Shelley, her husband, and then Lord Byron, who was their friend.
Yeah,
these are
old school people, and they're talking. She's talking about talking about Frankenstein and the book, and then she says, I have an idea for another story, and she starts telling it, and that becomes the movie. But Elsa Lanchester is actually the part of Mary Shelley, but she's also the part of the bride.
The bride, yeah.
And when she was billed, it was a question mark. I didn't know this for many years because it was never. I don't think that was even announced until like the '60s or something. Nobody knew it was her.
Really? I thought it was the minute I saw it. I was like, oh, that's...
Did you recognize it?
I really thought it was her.
I never did. Now, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I didn't know until like I'd first seen the movie a few times, and then I found out. Wow.
And interestingly enough, again, the movie's called The Bride of Frankenstein. The bride is only in like the last 5 minutes of the whole movie.
But you know what? Wait a minute.
The monster is only there.
Wait, no. Getting back to my question about when did Frankenstein? Wait a minute here. I'm realizing something. When did Frankenstein all of a sudden that became a mistake? Right? They pick it of the monster. Might have been with this film. Because if you say Bride of Frankenstein, it was never meant for Dr. Frankenstein to have that bride. It was meant for the monster.
Right.
So maybe people then started to think Frankenstein is the monster, not the doctor. Maybe.
In the novel, which
his name is
I know
Adam.
this film is loosely based on.
Very loosely based on.
In the novel, which I actually read, the monster is the one who like tries to force Dr. Frankenstein to make him a bride.
Yes.
Said, I will leave you alone.
If you make me
I will
bride.
leave you alone, and I will go away, and you will never see me again if you make me a bride.
But you need a companionship.
Right.
Otherwise, I will destroy your life.
And he floats away on the ice.
But then James Wells tries to come up with a super villain. Like, I think Dr. Pretorius is one of the great. I think he is a.
Do you
I keep bringing up Dr. Pretorius because I love him so much. I think Dr. Pretorius is. He is what so many supervillains are now based on. He's like an evil scientist who is like manipulative.
Absolutely.
And do you remember that scene when he's in the tomb?
And he breaks out a sandwich?
Yeah, he breaks out a sandwich.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Like, what is
he's sitting there in the tomb. He whisked away.
Now he has his two grave robbers. One is Dwight Fry.
One is Dwight Fry. Who, by the way,
right.
alright, so real quick. Everybody thinks of the ultimate, who's the ultimate lab assistant? Igor? No, his name is Carl! It's not Igor, it's Carl!
Now, do you remember, I think it's in the next one, like Son of Frankenstein, I think. Boris Karloff didn't play it anymore. You had Glenn Strange, I think, at that point.
Right.
But there's a scene when the son of Frankenstein, son of Dr. Frankenstein, his lab assistant's name is Joseph, and it's Bela Lugosi. That's great. I love that.
But anyway, that scene in the tomb is literally one of my favorite.
He has them.
And he sets up the skull and the bones.
And he breaks out a piece of bread with some coconuts
And
and
he's
shit.
just like,
It's like, what?
and then when the monster shows up,
Right on top of
when
the
the
grave.
monster shows up, he's not even phased. The monster's like, oh, I thought I was alone.
Yeah, I thought I was alone here. He's looking at the monster like, yeah. Did you catch one thing with that film, though, with the makeup? Okay. There's lots of scenes of the Frankenstein monster close up in that film. And, well, remind me, I want to talk about the blind man scene, too.
Oh, yeah, we got
But
about
what I was
scene.
going to say is that there's times in the film where Karloff would get wounded. You know, his face would get something, or his hand or something. But in the next time they show it, it's healed. And it was like an intentional thing to show that he can heal quickly. He has the power to heal quickly.
He's got like
a lot of people don't pick up on that.
I don't know. He's got like Wolverine healing.
Yeah, it's vampire healing or something, you know. But yeah, the scene with the blind man.
I didn't know that was intentional.
Yes, it was. It was intentional. That was what's his name? The fucking makeup guy, Jack Pierce.
Oh yeah,
Jack Pierce.
Jack Pierce did all the makeup for the Universal films.
Yeah, back in the days, man. That's the guy you want.
That's the guy you went to.
Yeah.
Except for the Invisible Man, you didn't need him. don't think
That
you
is
did
a
too
great
much.
movie.
Oh, it is totally
That is
underrated.
great. Again,
Totally underrated.
James
The
Well.
best thing- the
Again,
best
James
thing-
Well.
The best thing is when Jake started taking his clothes off, it's just like.
And then you got Uno O'Connor going.
Remember when Uno Connor's screaming and there's like a bottle, there's like a jar of mustard bouncing across the screen. As he's trying to put mustard on his dinner. You know, it's hilarious.
my God.
That's a great
That's a
movie.
great
That is a
movie.
great movie.
The Invisible
And
Man.
he made a little cameo at the end of Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein too.
Oh, yeah.
At the very end in the car, they're talking, Abbott and Costello are talking, saying, "Oh, we got out of there by the skin of our teeth." Or whatever. Right? And all of a sudden you hear in the back, "Oh, well, you haven't met me yet. You know, I'm the Invisible Man. All you see is a cigarette." You know?
Yeah. That was great.
Yeah.
That was great.
Let me just throw the cast out there. Boris Karloff, okay?
Boris Karloff.
The monster.
Nice.
Not the doctor. He's the monster. Okay? Colin Clive was Dr. Frankenstein. Valerie Hobson was Elizabeth Frankenstein's wife. You had Elsa Lanchester, played Mary Shelley and the Bride of Frankenstein. You had Ernest Thesiger, Dr. Pretorius. You had Una O'Connor as Minnie, crazy old bat lady. And then
My
you have,
second
there's an
favorite
interesting character, name here, and a character we forgot to talk about. E. Clive.
E. Clive.
Now, E. Clive
E.
is
Clive
not
played the
related to
Bur-
Colin Clive.
Played the Burgermeister.
The Burgermaster. Yeah.
Also played.
And if you think
he
about
played
the
a si-
I'm sorry. Well, the Burgermeister in Young Frankenstein is fun.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but he was based off like that same character,
Yeah.
like totally incompetent. Except he took it like Mel Brooks made it almost like he was like a Nazi. You know, in the uniform and the arm that wouldn't stop going like this.
Yeah, control. And he's like, shake, shake.
Like the Doctor Strangelove.
Yes. Right.
I wish I
I
could remember that actor's name.
Peter Sellers.
No. Played the Burgermeister.
Oh, and Young Frankenstein. Oh my God.
Young
Yeah, that's a good
Frankenstein.
question. I probably knew that at some
I
point.
should know. Well, anyway.
Anyway, talk about when he sees the blind guy. What's your take on it?
Yeah.
'Cause that's just classic.
That is a classic. This is where Mel Brooks just he saw this.
Mel Brooks saw it.
And he's just like, there's no way. There's no way. I'm pretty sure this is probably, that scene probably made him go, oh, this is what I want to make the whole film
We
around.
can make a whole thing of this. Definitely.
You know, oh, and by
But
the
it's-
way,
but the
wait,
yeah.
real quick,
Yeah.
just because it's coming to me right now, I apologize for jumping in, but remember when the monster and the blind guy are sitting there and the two
Guys come in.
riders come in?
Guns come in.
One of them is John Carradine.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
One of them is John
Yes.
Carradine,
Yes.
who is also a classic horror
And I didn't
actor,
see
but
his name in the credits.
No.
I looked.
That was like a
Yeah.
dance
That was John
appearance.
Carradine. Yeah.
That was John Carradine,
yes.
and I immediately, because
I know the guy too.
Carradine.
Yeah.
And and I was like, I wouldn't say a cameo, because it's probably early in his career. I don't know.
It's just, I guess, an uncredited role. He must have been
uncredited
friends
role.
with James Well or something.
I know, you know what?
Really.
They do that
They
all the
probably
time.
just hung out in
Got drunk,
Hollywood.
hung out, drinking, saw him in the bars tonight.
It's like, hey, you know what? I need a hunter.
Yeah.
I need a hunter to
You
come.
got an interesting face, you know, we'll put you in the
Come in,
film.
yeah, let's put you
Yeah,
in here.
you
Yeah.
know, but that scene when you watch it, and you know, I can't show you because it's too cold for me to take. So I actually have a Frankenstein tattoo.
All right, on.
Okay, yeah, monster. Okay, well you ain't seen me naked yet.
Well,
all right?
not yet. There's
But-
plenty of time for that.
Oh boy, but
The night is still young, my friend.
oh boy, but. One thing with Frankenstein movies for me is I always liked them because I felt bad for the monster. You know, you feel
Of
like
course.
he didn't ask to be fucking
Of course.
born, okay? And the scene with the blind man, you just have like this old guy living by himself. The guy comes, you know, the monster comes in. He would have asked him to move in, be his roommate.
Yeah.
Right there. You know, it was-
I ask God for a friend.
yeah.
Yeah.
Fred, then his fucking the poor bastard's house burns down.
Right.
What is
And
that,
then he
man?
just burned his house down. Like, This is what you get
Now
for
he's
having
gotta
a
go live
Frankenstein
in-
monster.
Now he's got to go live in some fucking blind home in Berlin and die and freaking, be treated like shit. Fucking die somewhere. That's what happened to him.
Oh,
This was
man.
literally the worst friend you could ever have.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, man.
But what I liked in Bride of Frankenstein too is the monster actually speaks. He got some dialogue.
He does. He does. It is.
it's fun-
Here's
it's
his
fun.
line.
Frank,
Smoke good. Smoke
Friend,
good.
friend, be my
This
friend.
is why it was really popular in the 60s when everybody just got really started like smoke good.
That's why it was so funny, you know. What was it? Frankenstein, Young Frankenstein?
Yeah.
Oh, baby Ruth.
What he likes is
I'm fire. I'm robbed.
That's screaming.
That was Peter Boyle.
Yes.
It was
Peter
Very
Boyle.
early roles. Yeah.
Peter Boyle.
One of the
Peter
best.
Boyle, badly.
One of the best movie I ever saw Peter Boyle in was Running with the Buffalo, and it's pretty much.
Wow.
And it's pretty much the same like Fear and Loathing.
Yeah.
And it's about Hunter S. Thompson.
Yeah.
Of course.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah,
Great
that is a good
fucking
movie. That is a good movie.
Of course.
With Bill Murray. Yeah.
Bill Murray as Hunter S. Thompson,
a
which,
fantastic
when you
movie.
think about it, is pretty much a genius casting.
It is. Johnny Depp did a good job.
Johnny did a great job, man.
Dude, let me tell you, I
would
would rather watch Running with the Buffalo than watch the Fear and Loathing.
How about Peter Boyle in Taxi Driver?
Peter Boyle
Well,
was great in Taxi.
Yep.
He's like, he's like, I'm in the middle of the Triborough Bridge, and this girl is in the back seat changing her panties. I pull right over, I turn the meter off, I jump in the back seat, and I whip it out, and I go, "This is love." It's such a great fucking scene, man. In that movie. It's such a short scene, but it's hilarious. This is love. I mean, I'm gonna fuck her right here on the bridge. You know what I'm saying?
Now this is love.
You know what? I don't even fucking forgot about
Yeah,
that.
it's great, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great scene.
This is stuff. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Peter Boyle movie Joe?
No, I heard that's a great.
I am gonna lend it to you.
You sent me actually the trailer to Joe.
I am gonna send that to you. Have you
I
ever
gotta
seen this
see
film?
that.
I have not seen that movie.
All right, director John Avildsen. Okay, it came out in 1970. I think it's Boyle's first movie. It's Susan Sarandon's first movie.
What?
Right, he played.
Why have I not seen this movie?
Okay, and a couple other character actor types that you would know if you saw them. I'll lend it to you guys. All right, he basically what it is this guy has a daughter who's a drug addict in the East Village, and she's living with this drug dealer in a shithole apartment down here. And he's a rich guy. The daughter's rich, but she ran away to be with him. And she gets whacked out on pills in like the Second Avenue drugstore, and they drag her out. And the father goes down to the apartment to get her things to move her out. And in the middle of doing it, the boyfriend comes in. They have a scuffle. Okay, and shit happens. But later in the film, he meets a Joe, who is Peter Boyle, who's like an Archie Bunker type character. He even lives in Astoria, so it's kind of like based on that.
I saw the trailer.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
and they go into they're looking for Susan Sarandon in the village. It's the middle of like all the hippies. They're getting high. They're doing all this shit trying to find her, and shit goes wrong. It's nuts.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So, Scott, what do you have coming up? I know any more
Oh
nefarious
yeah,
stuff.
yes,
Let's
yes.
plug you a
Well,
little bit.
you know, time to plug my show. I'm doing a couple of projects. One is I do a live show called Nefarious with my great co-producer Alaska. We do it once a month
Right.
at the Heart Swallow, which is on First Avenue in the East Village.
I know you just did one last
We
week.
just did one last Friday.
When's the next
there.
Our
at the
next
end.
one, get this. Our next one is we do it like the second Friday of each month. Our next one falls on February 14th.
Oh.
So we're doing an I Hate Valentine's Day show. Fuck Valentine's Day show.
Okay.
So that's gonna be fun. I'm also working with my friend Martin Myers, who is I've been cast as a supervillain myself.
Really?
Which I'm kind of based. You know, I'm thinking I'm kind of based.
Wait a minute, a supervillain clown?
No, supervillain.
I mean, you could be the Joker?
Now, I actually have a big skull head.
Oh. Like the red skull?
Yeah, and it's, you know, I'm thinking I'm kind of basing it a little bit on Dr. Precarious.
Pretorius.
Oh, wow.
He's a supervillain, but he's not a really very good supervillain.
Yeah.
Oh, that's like Despicable Me.
Right. So it's a web series I'm working on.
Right.
With my friend Mark, and who's producing it, and some friends of mine. That's gonna be fun. We'll see. We're actually on Friday. We're going to what's it called, Mark? The
Evil Expo.
The Evil Expo. So it's a conference for supervillains.
Really?
So yeah.
I want to go.
You should go. Also, I'm pretty sure I invited you March 15th.
Yes, you did.
March 15th.
We are going.
And I want people to understand this.
The
So
Eye of March?
Eyes of March.
my favorite film of all time, the film that inspires me, is the original 1933 King Kong. And TMC, Turner Classic Movies, for one day on March 15th, all around the country, they are showing it on the big screen. And I think I've invited you.
Yes, you got me a ticket.
I already got you a ticket, so we're going.
Yep.
Just look it up. King Kong 1933.
Go see it.
Go
Great
see it.
movie.
You've never seen it like you see it in the movies. That's
There are at least 3 theaters in New York that are showing it.
right.
And we're doing it 2 days, 2 shows. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got to plug.
Okay. How can we find you, Scott? I know you're out there.
Here's how you find me. If you go to Instagram, ClownKong44. ClownKong44. ClownKong like King Kong. CLOWNKONG 44. NYC. Oh wait, what is it?
ClownKong NYC.
ClownKong NYC. Maybe 44.
Any
What
questions?
is it? Does anybody know? It's ClownKong.
You looked up.
I don't know. I don't have to look up my own funny thing. ClownKong. Also, you know.
ClownKong 44.
Also, if you want to know about our show that we're doing, Nefarious Clowns, which is on Instagram.
You can look on the Hard Swallow website. They'll say what's going on with that.
Nefarious Clowns is the show.
How can we find you, Rob?
You can find me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. Everything lumped up is
Getting lumped up.
So anything saying getting lumped up, you can find me on. So even the website, and the podcast is on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, anywhere where you can listen to your podcast. We are on it pretty much.
Awesome. And I'm RockerMike. You can find me on Instagram, RockerMike212. I'm on Twitter, RockerMike3, and under Michael Baker on Facebook.
And how do we end the show?
Like we do all the time.
Don't get drunk.
Don't get drunk.
Get
Get
drunk.
up.
Have a good
Thank you, everybody.
See you guys next time.
See you soon.